All right, well, good morning. My name is Janice Sinoski. I'm an associate professor of nursing at the University of Lynchburg in Lynchburg, Virginia. My area of expertise is critical care nursing and simulation. I obtained my undergraduate nursing degree from Western University in London, Ontario, Canada, and my master's in nursing and doctorate in education in the United States. I'm a nurse educator and a certified healthcare simulation educator. Now, during COVID, the pandemic faculty needed to pivot to teach online. To keep students intrigued and engaged, I created QR codes as a form of digital moulage for students and learned how to leverage QR technology over the past 2 years to keep students engaged in face-to-face and online classes. So I thank you for allowing me to share my experiences with you. I'm grateful for the privilege to delve into a topic that has the potential to transform our teaching methods and elevate the engagement of our students in healthcare education. QR technology is a powerful resource that can enhance student and faculty engagement in classrooms, labs, and simulation settings. So today we're going to explore that fusion of the QR technology with the art of moulage, a blend that not only adds realism to our static mannequins, but also ignites critical thinking within our learners. This innovative approach of integrating QR codes in classes and simulation in the form of a digital moulage was a game changer for me. It equips educators, even those without prior moulage experience, with a tool to enrich their students' educational experience in ways not previously imagined. Simulation-based learning has become popular in healthcare education because it enhances students' clinical judgment skills and decision-making abilities. However, ensuring high levels of student engagement during simulation sessions is crucial for their success, yet a lot of us struggle with making those scenarios realistic. In a simulation context, moulage is anything that adds realism to a scenario. Classroom and online educators, as well as simulationists, can quickly and inexpensively generate QR codes to pique student interest and engagement in a variety of settings by offering a unique student-led discovery of information that prompts students to pivot their learning and include the new data in their analysis of the situation. This aligns with Brown's educational theory of effortful learning, in which the students become active participants in their learning journey to help make their learning stick. So my intended audience is broad, from classroom educators to simulation facilitators and lab faculty. The definition of a quick response code or QR code is simple. It's a type of two-dimensional barcode that can store data in a variety of ways, including URLs, audio files, MP3 files, videos, images, websites. Each QR code was designed with a specific purpose in mind to add an element of intrigue to a scenario. Smartphones and iPads can read QR codes, enabling the users to access multimedia information quickly and easily. Simulation has become an integral part of healthcare education, allowing students to learn and practice complex scenarios in a safe environment. QR codes are now changing how faculty engage students and how students interact with static mannequins in the nursing program at the College of Health Science, the University of Lynchburg. In addition, our physician assistant program at the university has expressed interest in adding QR codes to their simulations after watching what our nurses did with their QR codes. QR codes strategically placed on a static mannequin provides the students with new opportunities to gather health assessment data or reveal important elements of a patient's identification, diversity, and provide students with real-time changes in a patient's condition that helps to build those clinical judgment and problem-solving skills. QR codes are an effective means of self-directed learning, supported by Cobb's theory of experiential learning and Knowles' principles of adult learning. In a health assessment lab with faculty who have no simulation training, QR codes can offer faculty additional opportunities to present abnormal patient findings when using a static or low fidelity mannequin. In this picture, the mannequin has a peg tube in place under a dressing. Now, under that dressing, a QR code is secured beside the tube insertion site. Without the QR code, the students would uncover the dressing and only see the normal mannequin skin. With the QR code in place, the students are curious to view the code with their iPad or smartphone to discover additional information about the insertion site. The students are eager to see for themselves what the QR code reveals. QR codes as a technology, are a technology that the students are familiar with and they're comfortable with, along with their smartphones and iPads. In our nursing program, every student is issued an iPad, and that becomes part of their uniform and clinical. They bring it to every lab, they bring it to every class. For me, this was the aha moment that led me to believe that QR technology could be integrated into labs, face-to-face classrooms, and online courses, as well as at the simulation center. This activity generated a lot of discussion of normal versus abnormal findings amongst the sophomore nursing students. The level of student engagement during the health assessment lab increased dramatically, as evidenced by the level of surprise discussion about the new findings and the use of the QR codes. Was it just a novelty, I was wondering, of this new approach? So with the next class, I delivered a verbal narrative instead, describing the infected skin around the peg tube site without using any QR codes. And I did not sense the same interest or increased engagement with the mannequins in the lab. So from that point on, a research idea was forming in the back of my mind during this discovery phase. On the right-hand side of the picture, you'll see the tube site with the normal mannequin skin and a little QR code. On the left side of the picture is what the student views when he or she opens that QR code to reveal an infected peg tube site. Now, the faculty can engage student in the what if, or what would you do, what would your next conversations be, that include prioritization and clinical judgment skills that we need to hone in our students, especially with the new NCLEX exam that stresses clinical judgment. The students can practice using their SBAR communication as they call the provider to report wound site changes and practice documenting their abnormal findings on DocuCare, which is our academic electronic health record we use at the University of Lynchburg. From here, the students can build an individualized plan of care based on their new findings. Some wounds take a lot of time to create using traditional moulage. Using digital moulage allows faculty the time and the opportunity to quickly trade out QR codes as needed, especially when labs are scheduled back to back. The literature review I did found multiple sources that attest to the benefits of using QR codes, including a cost-effective means of assessing multimedia resources quickly. Students and faculty's level of engagement increase as faculty now can become very creative and create multimedia scenarios, which can be integrated into online learning very easily. Student engagement of online learning using QR codes can be tracked using the dynamic QR code feature, which tracks user information and access times. Marketing companies often use dynamic QR codes to learn more about their customers' buying habits, so faculty can learn more about their students' online viewing of QR codes when using this dynamic feature. You don't have to, you can use a static feature that does not collect any data, but it's interesting to see when students are viewing their homework. Creating QR codes is simple, flexible, it's easily adaptable. In addition, QR codes are free, and it's hard to find free resources these days when funding is really tight in higher education. So I didn't have the time or the supplies to apply fresh moulage between multiple back-to-back lab groups. So the QR codes prepared ahead of time enabled me to be really efficient with my setup time, as it only requires a few seconds to switch out QR codes before the next group comes in. Now the students will take a screenshot and of the image that they see, and then they'll use that screenshot to actually and accurately detail their documentation. So the student remains interested and interactive throughout the process. Adding digital moulage adds realism to static mannequins or task trainers. So think for a minute, a QR code that can be placed at an IV site on a mannequin or a task trainer to illustrate an infected or infiltrated area, that might be difficult to demonstrate with moulage, as faculty themselves have different levels of skill and comfort with the application of moulage techniques. And our lab faculty do not have simulation training, so the QR codes made it much easier for our current faculty. So here's another example of when a QR code may save time, as complex pressure ulcers are really time-consuming to replicate with layers of makeup. Again, students cleaning the area can unintentionally wipe off the makeup that would take a lot of time to reapply. So the QR code becomes a visual cue for the students to broaden their assessment with the tools they have, including their iPhone or their iPad. If they're going to bring their iPhone into the lab, they might as well be making use of it in a way that I want them to use their phone. The emphasis is on the abnormal findings, the documentation, prioritization of care, and the formation of a plan of care. In this picture, the QR code was under a see-through tegaderm on the left-hand side, so the students could opt to wipe over the tegaderm without damaging the QR code. Digital moulage can also include audio files as an example of a multimedia resource. I created QR codes that when scanned gives the patient's name, the date of birth, and the chief complaint. And the first ones, of course, were my voice. The students were initially startled by the voice when they scanned the ID bracelet, but then they felt they could better connect when they heard a real voice, along with other clues and subtle characteristics a voice can give, including a sense of urgency, perhaps the level of fear in the patient's voice, perhaps the age of the patient. In addition, an audio file can give students clues to language, accents, alterations in speech patterns, and even a glimpse into medical literacy of the patient, all from scanning that QR code and listening to the response. Online students can scan the QR codes inserted into the patient scenarios and start forming kind of a more realistic vision of their patient. So from there, I next tried adding images to help advance an unfolding scenario with QR codes, providing the next set of clues with a heart rhythm and a set of vital signs. I used another app I had called SimMon to create the vital signs, take a snapshot, and then upload that shareable link to create a QR code that gives students more details about their patient as they're undergoing a patient assessment. So when they pull down that gown and find a QR code on the chest, that is their cue to get out their iPad and assess that patient for that extra data. I look at it this way as a way of repurposing static mannequins. I can bring a mannequin into my health assessment lab or into my classroom and not have to carry all the additional equipment of monitors across campus. As the idea for the research project developed, I wanted to use and try a video link in a QR code to develop another unfolding case study. The students noted changes in the patient's condition when reviewing the QR data, which added another level of realism to this unfolding case study and prompted the students to take quick action based on what the QR video revealed. And when that video was scanned, the students would see the patient, and I panned over to the bedside monitor that showed a change in rhythm for the patient. So the students needed to act quickly as the patient was having an MI. After a trial with each new feature, the QR codes remained an engaging tactic that the students look forward to exploring. The variety of classes using QR codes increased to include health assessment lab, fundamentals lab, critical care theory class, and the critical care simulations. With interest generated in the QR technology in each class, the idea to move forward to create a research study took shape. The last step was to create an assignment to challenge the student either in the classroom, the lab, or an online setting. I included some next-gen style questions and had the students work their way through the questions either as a group or individually if it was online. The assessment is from the Nurse Tim textbook, and I've included pictures of the heart and prioritization questions in the assignment. And the students are responsible for following through with that assignment to reinforce their learning. I thought about how I could enhance my critical care simulations by adding digital moulage for point of care procedures like blood sugar results, pulse oximetry readings, or to have protocols readily available for students to view as if they were looking up policies on a computer in a hospital. This picture was a critical care COVID-19 scenario I set up for simulation. But now this picture, along with the QR codes, has become part of my critical care classroom scenario with QR codes for the vent settings, arterial blood gas results, and for titrating the different medications on the pumps. The students are challenged with a variety of changes in the patient's condition, as evidenced by changing QR code results, which require students to give immediate attention and problem solving. The QR codes are quick to change around, so the group of students finishing the sim will not be able to alert the next group coming in, as the newly placed QR codes will offer new or different results for the students to review and react to. Even in the classroom side, I found using QR codes for shareable and editable documents a great way to promote student engagement and collaboration. I had some students attending class face-to-face and others attending via Google Meet for the same class, especially if they were in isolation. Having QR activities that involve students in the classroom keeps the students engaged, no matter what their setting. So there are a number of advantages for using QR codes that promote student interaction and engagement, promotes faculty interaction and engagement. It repurposes static mannequins at no cost. It decreases the moulage prep time and the cost of moulage supplies. Certainly saves time in the scenario and lab setup. Saves the cost of printing a lot of material. We print out an awful lot of forms for the students. Now we can have those forms as a document in the QR code. It saves a lot of printing costs. We can collect data on the students if we want through the dynamic QR codes, or not collect any data just by using the static QR codes. We can display documents, images, video, audio files easily. And basically, it's a free resource that's easy to customize. Now, there are some challenges associated with using QR codes. Not all students have smartphones. All of our students have iPads, but there could be a problem with availability of smartphones and iPads. The technical infrastructure requires Wi-Fi connectivity. So that could be a problem with some students. Faculty resistance, surprisingly, faculty resistance to learning or implementing new technologies. But once they've had some training, and the training is very short, very easy, they feel a lot more comfortable with being able to generate QR codes. So, a mixed method research study will soon be underway to answer the following research questions. How does QR moulage contribute to a PA student's perceived engagement in simulation? Do PA students believe QR moulage is authentic? And is QR moulage an effective educational strategy in simulation scenarios? This research study compares the students' perception of applied moulage techniques, including QR codes, a straightforward narrative, or a picture of a chest trauma by implementing pre- and post-simulation surveys. To prevent research biases, researcher chooses the physician assistant students in the School of PA Medicine for the study. Analyzing the surveys at the end of the study will provide hopefully insight for simulationists in nursing and PA programs nationally and internationally. QR technology can potentially increase student engagement in simulation-based learning. By providing students with additional information and creative interactive experiences, QR codes may help students stay focused and motivated during their simulation sessions. So I've just included here some free and low-cost QR generator sites. Some sites allow you to customize your QR codes with color or shapes, and the sites are user-friendly and provide easy-to-follow instructions. I've also included a couple of free audio recording sites. You create an audio, save the file, and then share the file, and obtain a shareable link and add that URL link to the free QR code generator. So when you put it all together, I hope you'll try to create your own QR codes using these easy instructions. And then just a few tips that I've learned along the way about testing your codes before you print them, and darker colors work better. And having the word "scan me" is also a visual cue for the students as well. And then I do have my references listed below. And I just realized I don't have my camera on. So let me see if I can do that. And does anybody have any questions? And thank you so much for letting me share my journey of QR codes with you.